Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the LEP conference. This is my second year as part of the Doing Business Brilliantly conference that we run as an annual event as part of the Swindon and Wiltshire Local Enterprise Partnership. This time last year was a slightly different prospect. I was not sat in the building that I am today. I was talking about the prospects of the Business Cyber Centre, what it was going to be, how it was taking shape. We hadn't even got into the building yet this time last year. We started construction and refurbishment back on the 18th of October, a date that is firmly edged in my memory, as it was a very important sort of kick-off date for the project that I started back in April of 2021. Very, very pleased to be here today, and first and foremost want to make a big thank you statement to all of the contractors, all of the partners that delivered this in collaboration with the LEP team and as part of the Business Cyber Centre team to get us to where we are today. We've been open since the 10th of May. It was a rapid, really fast-paced delivery program, and there's a lot of people that had really high levels of input and really valued input. So a huge thank you to you all for getting us to the point where we are now, where we're seeing lots of people come and use the building. Yesterday, we had over 70 people here, lots of different meetings taking place. Tomorrow, we've got another 70 people here. So really, really excited to see the fact that the building is now open. I'm sat in it, it's working, and lots of other people are experiencing that as well. Part of the plan for the Business Cyber Centre wasn't just the building. Part of it was around how do we support the SME community. So those SMEs that are looking to be stronger, do business more brilliantly, as it says in the LEP title, the conference title. How can we give support to those organisations outside of this building? We're working with a number of partners that do a lot of good work directly with government departments, directly with defence. How can we leverage that connection? How can we leverage those partnerships and deliver products to the SME market that are going to ensure that those that might not consider cybersecurity as important as it needs to be, or aren't able to access those cybersecurity products that give you the security that you need? How can we help that? And that's what Guardian's all about. As you can see, there's not just our logo on here as the BCC, there's Mintivo as well. Some of you may know Mintivo, some of you may not. They are a managed service provider who are based in Laycock. We've worked with them for a number of years closely, and have seen their growth kind of build over the last few years. They've taken a really sort of prominent position across the Swindon and Wiltshire area in the southwest as a high quality managed service provider, deeply technical, but also able to deliver those technical services to organisations without getting lost in the language, without delivering a service that those customers don't know about. It's a really key partnership that we've built up, and really excited to tell you more about how that's going to develop into what we've got here today as BCC Guardian. A brief look at the agenda for today. So, what is the current landscape? What are the cybersecurity threats that are impacting SMEs at the moment? A little look at how we and Mintivo have worked together to create a solution to ensure that your business can, as much as possible, be safe against those known cybersecurity threats. And then a time at the end for you to ask any questions about cybersecurity in general. I will hold my hand up now and say I'm not a technical specialist, so please, if there are any technical questions, do fire them across, but I won't necessarily be able to answer them in depth myself. Chris Goff, Managing Director of Mintivo, will be leading the next session at just gone 1:30. His sort of technical specialism will more likely be able to answer those questions. So don't be afraid to answer them. We'll get them answered for you anyway, but it might not be me directly. We're here as the BCC, as the sort of presence, the brand for Guardian, to make sure that we're able to access the customers, the companies that need the security support that we're going to be delivering. And then any more questions about Guardian or the Business Cyber Centre in general, please fire them into the chat. I'll pick them up as we go through. The current cyber threats. Cybersecurity is important, none more so over the last 3 years since everyone moved away to working at home, working off devices and internet connections which weren't used to being worked off in that way. Managing secure data, managing important and protected data from a home environment or from a unfamiliar security environment exposed a number of organisations to risk that they hadn't been exposed to before. As you can see there, cybersecurity was identified as a tier 1 threat back in 2010, just a long time ago, 12 years ago, alongside terrorism, war and natural disasters, which shows how prevalent this is as a threat to day-to-day business, day-to-day life, both personally as well as part of your business and your employment. But it's only as good as the staff that are employed by an organisation. Yeah, you can see there on the right-hand side the stats that show 350% more cyber attacks will be received by an employee of an SME than of an employee of a large enterprise. There's a very good reason for that, and I'll explain that as we go through as the backbone to why we have established Guardian as an offer, as a product set for the SME market. Yeah, but it's a really, really key figure to consider there, and that's across SMEs as a whole. So SME is a broad stroke as a term. Your medium enterprise could be up to 250 employees. Yeah, it's a big company. Think about those that don't have an internal technology team, an internal IT team. They're outsourcing their IT, or might not even be outsourcing their IT because that isn't at a scale, the business isn't at a scale where that's an affordable part of the revenue expenditure yet. So how do those businesses, how do the sole traders that might be relying on basic Office 365 platforms or Google Mail platforms, how do they make sure their business is secure? That's what we're here to talk about today. Types of threats. There are a number of different threats that will be spoken about a lot in the media, for example, or across places like LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, most of which you'll recognize. Yeah, if you think about phishing attacks, phishing with PH as opposed to sort of going down to a pond and trying to catch an actual fish, the principle is the same. That's an email or an attempt to contact you or an employee to try and elicit some information that will give you an avenue and a threat vector, as it's called in the cybersecurity industry, into your business. Yeah, typically comes by way of an email. What ways can you mitigate that? There's some really simple, really basic principles that you can put in place to ensure that you're limiting your exposure to risk from a cybersecurity threat such as phishing. Yeah, those are listed here, strong and different passwords. There's a huge amount of research that goes on at the moment into the types of passwords that people are using. Yeah, the number of passwords that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or password as a password. People are still doing that. People are still using those passwords or just standard off-the-shelf automatically assigned passwords from devices as their single point of failure. Multi-factor authentication, or 2FA or MFA, really simple, easy to implement way of protecting your access to your social media accounts. If you're running a social media account as part of your business and you rely on that as a marketing tool, you can very quickly be shut out if you haven't got multi-factor authentication in place by a threat actor who will come in and then implement multi-factor authentication themselves. It's almost impossible to return your social media accounts if someone else has put multi-factor authentication on it when you haven't. Yeah, if they've managed to get in, change your password, and they've implemented multi-factor authentication, you can pretty much count on your social media account being gone, and you have to start again. Updating your devices. This one is a really interesting topic at the moment. Updates for your device, if you're looking at patching for systems and processes that are in place, really, really key in ensuring that any new threats that are found by threat actors or people that are trying to undertake surreptitious activity, you can mitigate that by updating your devices and keeping them updated to ensure that those companies that are managing your devices, be it Microsoft, be it Google, whoever it may be, they have got the latest level of security and latest protection for you on your device. And be really careful about what you share online. Yeah, threat actors will look for other ways to get into your business. Yeah, if you're out and posting social media online, they may pick up the fact that your dog's name posted online. One of the most common passwords for an account is your dog's name. Or when you bought the dog, your dog's birthday, your children's birthday, your birthday. Those things are often used as passwords that if you're posting online, hey, it's my birthday, they might then be able to use that and by brute force, which is multiple attempts at trying to get access into your accounts, trying lots of different options, variations of passwords such as a date, Yeah, different ways of structuring a date. Those are the sort of brute force attempts to get into your system that they can undertake. So being really careful about what you share online about personal information may seem trivial and completely unrelated to your business, but these are ways that threat actors try to access your account, and it can be done so quickly and so easily. So just something to be aware of. So that's the fear mongering. That's the scary part. Yeah, that's what people will try and do, the lengths they will go to get into your business. And remember, it's not all about financial risk from a cybersecurity aspect. Yes, it can cost an awful lot of money. The average cost for an SME to return back to get their business back is between £8,000 to £15,000. Yeah, that's not an insignificant amount of revenue for an organisation who's looking to grow, looking to scale. Yeah, that's the average cost. It could be more, it could be less if you're very lucky, but £8,000 to £15,000 is what it costs to recover and get your business back up and going after a basic cybersecurity incident. So that's the scary part. Yeah, hopefully that's done. I've not sort of worried you too much about how to protect your business. How we assessed what we need to do? How can we help? So as I said, the Business Cyber Centre, we've been established now for about 6 months. We started this project a year and a half ago as a physical build to deliver a 21,000 square foot facility for companies that are delivering cybersecurity products into very large organisations, and that's both industry as well as defence and government. That's great for those government departments, those defence departments that can afford that level of security. What happens for those that can't? What happens to the small businesses, the micro businesses, the sole traders who might approach a Microsoft or a large government vendor and say, hey, look, how can I get the support that you're giving to those large organizations? Lots of them may not be able to find who that is, first and foremost. They may not have the time. They may not have the knowledge or the experience of who to go to ask those questions. But if you do have that, if you can find that, you may be turned away at the door. Because from a business model perspective, those organizations are going for large. They're going for scale. They're going for the companies that have got 500 plus employees. Yeah, because that's their business model. Entirely fair enough. Yeah, those are the companies that can deliver those types of products to that size of organization. That's a wealth divide. Yeah, that is a wealth divide, in my opinion, between the small business and those large entities and large enterprises from a commercial aspect, as well as a knowledge aspect. And I'll be talking about that more at events coming up. So keep an eye out on the Business Cyber Centre social accounts. I'll be talking up in Cirencester and in London about specifically the cyber wealth divide. So yeah, do keep an eye out for those sessions as they come available. But from our perspective, we said, well, that's not fair. Yeah, we are here as the Swindon and Wiltshire Local Enterprise Partnership to give companies in our area, the small businesses, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to be protected and to have a level playing field when it comes to areas and issues of growth and scalability and being able to do business brilliantly in our area and abroad. Lots of our companies that work in this area and operate out of this area trade nationally, internationally. So how do we ensure that those organisations in Swindon and Wiltshire and beyond, Guardian is not just a Swindon and Wiltshire product set, it is a national product set, the opportunity to gain access to those enterprise level of security, cybersecurity products. So I started having a number of conversations with those large entities saying, hey, yes, you trade with 1, 2, 3 organizations of 500 people. How can you flip your model to 500 organizations of 1, 2, or 3 people? They can't. As I said earlier, it's not their business model, which is fair enough. But how can we facilitate that? Those conversations died a death because they couldn't transfer and deal with that change in business model. So we struck up a conversation with Intivo. Intivo are a 20-25 person managed service provider providing IT support to small businesses in the same sort of market that we deal with as a local enterprise partnership, and had exactly the same question. They were already delivering products in part to organizations that have asked those questions or are dealing in sectors that are handling mountains and mountains of personal or sensitive data. You think about accountancy firms, law firms, solicitors, the amount of high value data that those organizations are transacting with on a day-to-day basis needs protecting. The staff need training to ensure that they can recognize how to a surreptitious email, an email that might not be as sort of valid as it appears. How do you spot those? So between Mintivo and the BCC, we struck up a conversation and said, okay, this is something we know needs to happen. Mintivo are delivering these services in part already. Yeah, how can we take that from a part of an initial service offering from Mintivo as a service provider into its own standalone set of products? That's where Guardian was born. Through that conversation, recognizing that those companies need that support, but they need it, and they need it as quickly as possible and as easily and simply as possible. I go back to my comment about the wealth divide. If you think about a company of 50 plus, that's probably where you start employing direct IT staff as opposed to outsourcing that IT support or security support. That's a lot of revenue. Employing 50 staff is a high turnover or good revenue generating business. What happens to those companies that don't have that level of revenue? Yeah. We recognize there's an opportunity to step in there and provide that level of support by taking products that are being delivered by large vendors to large organizations en masse to the SME, the micro end of that SME market. We've been working on this Guardian product set and this standalone set of opportunities for small businesses over the last couple of months to bring together something that's not completely brand new. These products are white labeled from well-recognized and well-established vendors that are delivering this, as I say, to large organizations and directly, but we're taking it from them and then delivering it to the SMEs. There's the brand. Yeah, I love the little play on the BCC hemispheres there to give us the little sort of person stood there, or the little guard there for your business, powered by Mintivo. There is the back end. So what does that look like? We have 3 levels of product. I won't go into huge amounts of detail about each of them here. Please contact us, see our website, get in touch. We can talk to you about these in more detail. But if you were to go to a direct to the vendors that we are giving these products and accessing these products from, they would look for a minimum of a couple of hundred users at a huge scale in terms of cost, as a direct cost to an organization. You would also then need to implement those yourselves. You would also need to ongoing manage those yourselves. But if something happens, if some of these products recognize an incident or recognize a threat, how do you rectify that? How do you stop an attack going further? That's the simplicity that we're taking. Yeah, we can bring these products to you, to your machines, to your staff, and they are on there and they will work behind the scenes with minimal input from you as a business leader, yeah, as from a board of directors, from your technical team if you have one. This is an ongoing set that we will then manage for you and work with you if there is an issue that arises. What does that look like? So essentials, this is the basic package. Yeah, this is the very simple, easy to roll out set of packages that will give you protection from email-borne cyber threats. So I go back to phishing attempts. Phishing is the #1 way that cyber attacks happen across the world at the moment. Someone emails you a link saying, posing to be your finance officer or your finance team, please can you pay this invoice, click the link below. Or please can you send that amount of money to this account, this bill's not been paid. You see it all the time. This mail secure product will attempt through AI and ongoing management and review of your system to pick up those email-borne threats. I will never say this is 100% secure. No cybersecurity products will ever be 100% secure because of the speed that these cyber attacks and the ways that these threat actors will change their methods of attack. So we'll try and be as secure as possible, but this is a way of stopping the majority of those coming through. CyberGuard, so defending your data and resources. This is a product set that will ensure that your data is backed up. Yeah, so if you're a staff member or you click on a link that you don't get to and someone gets into your system, this locks away your data and resources to ensure that if we recognize that and when we recognize that, you can restart your business as soon as possible with data from as close to the point of the incident as possible. So you're not losing a week or 2 weeks worth of transaction history that you have to then pick back up with your customers. And then phishing awareness. As I say, phishing is the number one threat to all businesses and to personal staff at the moment across the world. So giving your staff a regular training and simulated phishing attack. So if they do click on a link, they are brought up with a page that says, you have clicked on a link that isn't genuine. This is what's happened. This is what it looks like. How do you recognize that? They're given some training. If they continue to do it, they're given more intense training. You're also given a report as a business owner, so you can see the level of improvement and how sort of skilled your team are at recognizing those threats. Really simple, and from a cost perspective, £13.20 per user per month. Yeah, if you were to try and get these anywhere else, you'd be looking at a much higher cost. Professional. This is the package that you're going to need. Yeah, you've got all of those first three included from the basic package at the beginning, plus a couple of extra layers on top. If you look at phishing as the #1 method of attack, DNS and website settings, and I'll try to stay away from as much technical language as possible because I'm very limited in my technical understanding, so I don't want to try and assume that anybody else knows. But similarly, we're trying to keep it simple. Yeah, a lot of the issues when it comes to cybersecurity uptake is around knowledge and language and use of that, and what does that actually mean for my business? So I will try and stay away from that technical language where possible. But if you look at your website settings, so your IT company, or if you've established your own website, those domain settings are possibly the second or third most active way that threat actors will take a shot at your business. Yeah, so domain fraud protection. How can you make sure that nobody's getting into your back end of your website, your domain settings or your email settings, to make sure they're not sending emails that look like you? As I said earlier in the presentation, someone sending an email from the finance team, it may look legitimate. It may have your finance person's name as the email head, but is that actually from them? This product will prevent that as much as possible. And then web protection, layering on the ability to stop your employees, yourself, going onto websites that will potentially be risky. So if you're looking at non-secure websites, very simple way of stopping accessing websites that may have people that are picking up those companies or those individuals that are on there and seeing them as a risk or as an opportunity to exploit that risk. And then Elite. This is the top package. Yeah, gives you everything that I've spoken about before, plus a 24/7, 365-day team called a Security Operations Center, sitting, looking at your systems along with others and saying, right, what's going on? What does that picture look like in that region? Are we seeing a spike in certain levels of activity? Again, using artificial intelligence, AI, to manage and monitor those threats in that region to say, okay, we're starting to see something a little bit unusual here. Last time something like this happened, it resulted in this type of threat taking place, or somebody got stung. So we'll look at that and manage that. If something happens, they will then step in as the operations team to protect you as on that ongoing basis. So Christmas Day, Friday at 5 o'clock, yeah, when everyone's going home, that's when these threats happen. When those that are trying to undertake this surreptitious activity see people being at their weakest. You're trying to shut down your laptop. You want to go home at 5 o'clock on a Friday evening. You get an email from the finance manager saying, can you just do this before you go? You might just think, yeah, I'll just get it done. I want to go home. I want to see my family. I want to go for a beer down the pub. That's when you're at your sort of most unaware. This team will manage that for you, will look after you should something go wrong. There we are. Those products are live. Yeah, they're ready to go now. If you go to the BCC website, there's a Guardian tab that was there, ready for you to use. Really simple, really effective. And I think that's the key part of this. As I said earlier, language, trying to be as simple as possible. Lots of organizations get lost in the language that use the technical terminology, around cybersecurity. It can be confusing. It can be scary. We're here to try and take the simplicity to that, take all the technical terminology away, as well as that ongoing management. I'll open the floor for any questions. I can see there's a good number of people in. Thank you for joining me. I'll throw any questions open. If not, then I'll be here until the end of the session. I know we've got a little while left to go yet, but the products are so simple. I don't need a huge amount of time to talk about them. Yeah. So yeah, open to any questions. Harry, I see you just joined. Welcome. I've finished the presentation that I've run through. I'd be very happy to go through in more detail if you'd like. I've just put a note in the chat there. If you'd like to go through anything more specific, then I'll go through that again very briefly. We've got plenty of time, so do ping through any questions if you like, yeah, I'll run through the basics of it again for you. But happy to talk. Just a point as well, Chris Goff, who's the Managing Director of Mintivo, who are our partner in delivering this product set, he's going to be on at the session at, I think it's 2:25 this afternoon, and I'll be back on again at 20 to 4. So plenty of opportunity to see this full presentation again. But Harry, just for your information, we as the BCC are launching a set of products called Guardian, which we have established alongside Mintivo, who are our partner in this, who are the technical partner delivering this set of cybersecurity products. The whole remit around this is looking at how do we provide simple to access, easy to access cybersecurity products for those that don't understand what they need, or those may not be able to access what they need to access from a cost perspective, as well as a knowledge and understanding or an ongoing technical requirement. So I can see some others. Mark, hi, nice to see you. Chris, you're putting me under pressure joining. I'll just run through this again. Chris is going to be critiquing my presentation, I can sense. But look, I'll just run through this again. I've got a little bit of time. There's been some new joiners. So for those that have just joined, Mark, Harry, Chris, I mean, Chris, you should know this inside out. You read the presentation, but this is a set of products that over time, having spoken to a number of different large vendors to government departments, to defence departments, to enterprises who are 500-person employees or more, we have struck up a partnership with Mintivo as the technical delivery and the service delivery on this to bring this set of products to market for those companies that don't have the facility to access. And I mentioned earlier something called the cyber wealth divide, which I think is going to be a huge topic going forward. And I'm going to be talking at different events over the next month or so about the cyber wealth divide, which I see not just financially, but as technically and knowledge, a knowledge gap, yeah, for those companies at the small to micro end of the business scale. You might have just started your business. You've just opened your business email account through Microsoft 365 or through Google. What support, what protection do you have automatically laid on by those companies? Yeah, or through your laptop, for example, you might get McAfee installed on your laptop. What support do they give you? How do you know? What do you know about implementing those systems? Probably not much. You're a specialist in your area. Yeah, this is a product set that's there for you to be able to access from companies that are delivering high-level cybersecurity to government and defence departments, as I say. That's where this conversation started. Current cyber threats, I've gone through this in terms of the landscape at the moment. We know that SMEs, so if you think about the SME scale, 1 to 250 persons as an organisation, employees of those organisations are 350% more likely to receive an attempt at a cyber attack compared to those employees of a larger enterprise. Why is that? I go back to my comment about the cyber wealth divide. Companies of that size, enterprises, they can afford to buy these products that protect their employees. They can afford to buy the products that protect their organisation. They also have teams sat inside those organisations who monitor this stuff all the time. Yeah, SMEs don't, particularly at the small end of that. A 250 person organization might still classified as an SME just, or a 100-person organization might. But those that are 5, 10, 15 employees, how are they managing their cybersecurity? They may outsource their cybersecurity or their IT support, basic IT support. What are those organizations doing on behalf of that small business to protect that business? At the moment, not a huge amount, and that's evident by that statistic. That's an enormous figure, an enormous difference. Also, as it says there, your cybersecurity is only as good as the staff that's employed. So how are you training your staff? How are you managing the risk that's posed by phishing attempts? The number one threat to the organization is phishing. Yeah. How can you protect and give your staff the training so they recognize what an email looks like? Different, really simple ways. We've got a set of products, and I appreciate there's been a couple of people on this call that have seen this already. We'll go back through those for those that are just joining. But there's real simple ways that you can mitigate risk really simply for free, and you can do that now. You could log off this call, go and implement these 4 items here, and you'll be existentially more secure, infinitely more secure than you were before. So strong and different passwords. Referencing the point below, be careful about what you share online is intrinsically linked to strong and different passwords. If you're sharing your dog's birthday, you're sharing your child's birthday, your birthday online, a lot of passwords are used that are used at the moment are your own birthday or your dog's name. If you're sharing that on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Snapchat or whatever, people that are looking to undertake a social engineering approach to a cyber attack will look at those and go, okay, I know that person's email because it's been leaked as part of a cyber incident from a telephone supplier, a comms supplier, or something like that. I know their email address. I'm going to have a sort of hard go, a consistent go at sort of forcing my way into their accounts by looking at these social posts that they are putting up. People will go to that level of extent to get into your business, and that doesn't just mean the HSBCs or the large organisations of this world. It will happen to you as well because you are potentially an inroad to those large organisations. So using strong and different passwords, a password manager. LastPass, using your Apple keychain password protection, generating strong passwords from those password protection apps that are very, very cheap. Some of them are even free for a basic level. It's a really simple way to protect your accounts. Multi-factor authentication. Again, a very simple method to implement. Lots and lots of web services require this now or constantly hammer you if you haven't instigated this. This is a really important and really simple way of protecting your accounts. And also a really easy way for somebody who's looking to steal an account from you or lock you out of an account to implement if you haven't done it yourself. So if you haven't put multi-factor authentication on your social feeds, and that is your direct way of marketing to your customers, and they get into those and lock you out by putting multi-factor authentication on the other end, you're not getting that back. Very, very unlikely. There's been a couple of cases where people have been able to recover that, but consider that account gone. That's your marketing database gone. So multi-factor authentication, really simple to do, connected typically to your mobile phone or an email account, really, really simple to do. Updating your devices, again, a really simple way of making sure that anybody that you're using as a vendor, so if you're running Office 365 or you're running Windows, or you're running Mac OS, do those updates. Those companies are releasing patches or fixes to threats that have been notified to them or they've recognized. Weaknesses that they've recognized. They're plugging the gap or patching over the hole. So there's 4 really simple things that you can do there. A bit about the story between Vintivo and the Business Cyber Centre. Those of you who have joined slightly later, the Business Cyber Centre is a 21,000 square foot facility in Chippenham. We are principally a workspace dedicated to the cyber industry, and that's focusing on the defence and security supply chain into a location called MOD Corsham, which is a couple of miles down the road from us. That as an organisation provide the cybersecurity and technical security and information security for government departments and defence departments. So a very strategically important location for the enterprises that are dealing with cybersecurity and selling cybersecurity products to that as a customer. We are creating a home and a user base for those companies that need to work in close proximity to that location. So we've got offices, we've got workspace, we've got meeting rooms and training areas. The meeting rooms and training areas are open to all businesses from all sectors. Offices and co-working space are open to that defence and cyber industry. Outside of the building, we've looked to leverage those partnerships and those connections that we have with those organisations to deliver cybersecurity products to the SME. When I say the SME, that's the small to micro end of the SME scale, the 1s to 25s, the 1s to 10s, those sorts of companies that don't have access to and are struggling with that wealth divide from a cyber perspective. That's where the conversation with Mentivo was struck up. Having already delivered some of these products in isolation or as part of a managed service provision to those two organisations, Mentivo and us had a discussion about, well, let's take that separately. Let's look at that as a separate product set to say, we've got things that we can deliver to you at an affordability level and at a level that requires minimal involvement from a technical perspective, which are almost in parity from my perspective. You may be able to afford something from a large vendor, a product from a large vendor, but do you have the skill set all the time to manage that on an ongoing basis? I would bet not. So we take both of those as equal importance and say, we can do this for you. We can put this on your machines. It will sit there behind the scenes, monitor what's going on in the activity of you and your staff to ensure that you're as safe as possible. You will never be ultimately safe. Even government departments or large enterprises that buy these products from these vendors directly, they still have issues, largely down to employees, it has to be said. Pretty much the majority of cyber incidents are caused by employees. So that training is really important, and we wrapped that into the products that are available. Guardian, nice little brand, nice little icon. Strong person, strong guard there, protecting your business as best as possible, powered by Mentivo. So what does that look like? Essentials, this is the base package. Really, really simple, easy to implement at a really affordable level. I have to say, any of the large organizations that I've spoken to about the different levels of security that come as part of these products, they have been blown away by what you get with them for the cost of it per month. £13 a user per month. If you went to a large organization, even to get the basic mail protection, you'd be looking at a significant amount more. So we've taken that and then delivered that to this community at a level that's affordable. So mail secure, protection from email-borne threats, that phishing attempt, using artificial intelligence running behind the scenes to recognize what is legitimate and what is not. Some may get through. I will caveat that it's never ultimately secure, and that's where the phishing awareness training comes in. If something gets through, when something gets through, probably more appropriate. How do we ensure that your staff are as aware as possible of what a surreptitious email looks like? How do they recognize not to click on that link or just ask that question? And then CyberGuard within that, defend your data and resources, defending that. So if something happens, when something happens, your data, your resources are secure, segmented away from all of that day-to-day operation, so you're not losing that precious data. All of those three really important product sets with a couple of extras wrapped on top. Domain fraud protection. It's quite a technical language. So how do you protect your website? How do you protect your email domains to make sure that nobody's trying to spoof or pretend to be somebody legitimate? So your legitimate finance email, prevent people going behind the scenes, digging a little bit deeper into your organization to try and send that email to, say, make a payment for 10,000, 20,000, whatever it might be. Just picking up that method of trying to infiltrate your business. And then web protection, layering on how to recognize or getting your devices to recognize non-secure websites. And then Elite, all of that plus a 24/7, 365-day-a-year team managing and monitoring your business inside a security operations center. You see the sort of archetypal images of cybersecurity, 50 screens with one person sat there monitoring all these sort of lights and flashing things looking sort of super spooky. That's a legitimate setup. People are sat there managing these organizations, looking after your team, on a 24/7 basis to pick up if something's happening. Again, referencing artificial intelligence, monitoring local activity. If there's a threat or a spike in certain activity, recognizing that actually last time that happened, somebody got stung. Picking that up, going, right, we need to make sure everyone's on point, get rid of that threat. That's the 24/7 Security Operations Center. And back to the beginning. There's been some people that have joined, and again, we're here until about 25 past, so I won't go through it again. Some people have seen it twice now. Hopefully I've sort of got it nailed. It's the second time I delivered it in one session, but if anybody's got any questions, please do put it in the chat. I'll stay here. I'll run through any questions as you need. If you want to talk to us about these, head to the BCC website. There's a link there under Guardian that will take you through, again, a rundown of these products. There's an opportunity for a 30-minute consultation on these as well to make sure that the right product set is for your business, and then a way to contact us to ask those questions. Plenty of information out there. Really, really excited to launch this. Chris, Tim, and the team, Alex at Mintivo, we've been working on this for a little while now, and it's the perfect platform to deliver the launch of it. There will be an event coming up in the next month or so with the vendors at the BCC. There's nothing like this out there at the moment, and we're really, really excited to bring it to Swindon and Wiltshire, launching it at the Swindon and Wiltshire LEP's annual conference, but we will be taking this beyond those borders as well. This will be a national product set for anybody and everybody, no matter the organisation size. As long as it fits, we're here for you. So open to any questions. I'm going to pop my mic on mute. I've been talking for far too long, so let's have a quick drink, but any questions, please do pop it in the chat, and I'll be able to help.